Wisconsin. Well, someone who knows what the candidates are feeling right this second was himself one in 2012. He has a legendary career as a businessman and a diplomat. Also served as the governor of Utah. Jon Huntsman Jr. is with me now. Governor, so pleased to have you with us.
Deirdre, what a great honor. Thanks so much.
As someone who has been through the process, so what would your advice be at this juncture to the candidates?
Well, you know, everybody's biting their fingernails and fretting over questions that are going to be asked. But at the end of the day, you have to be yourself. You have to stand on the issues that you've championed during your career. You've got to articulate them convincingly and believably to the American public. And anytime you try to fudge or you try to be somebody you're not, guess what? The American people can see that pretty clearly.
People pick up on that, yeah. Now, when you ran in 2012, President Obama's campaign manager, I mean, you seemed the most threatening to him. I want to know how the race is different this time around versus the last time.
Well, last time we had a front runner pretty consistently from the beginning with Governor Romney. And you had people pop up as competitors in some of the early primary states, but they didn't last very long. And this time you've got, first of all, a field that is 2 or 3 times the size we had in 2012. You have a different landscape in terms of the policy priorities. And you really don't have a traditional, conventional front runner. You've got 2 outsiders who have consistently stayed at the 20-25% range, and that hasn't changed a whole lot. And so that dynamic is completely different than anything we've seen in the past.
Governor, let me ask you, were you as surprised as the rest of the public seems to be that, as you just alluded to, the 2 outliers are the ones, and of course Donald Trump and Dr. Carson are the ones who are leading right now?
Well, anyone who told you otherwise, any analyst or any insider who 6 months ago would have said that they're not surprised by it would be lying to you, because this would have been a difficult thing for anybody to forecast. But then you say, you know, the Republican base and a lot of independent, unaffiliated voters included in that group, they really have had enough. And the idea that you're bringing in somebody with a different approach, and I think the one word that really summarizes what the people want more than anything else is strength. They want somebody who's going to stand up to those who are trying to tear down the United States, to our enemies and evildoers abroad. They want someone who's going to be tough with Congress. And they see, and I think Donald Trump, the kind of person who exudes strength more than anything else. He's authentic. He has a sense of authenticity that I think is the other trait that the American people are looking for. And Ben Carson the same. He's a very authentic guy. He is who he is. And I think the Republican base, for that reason, have given them very high standing thus far in the campaign.
Governor, shortly after you dropped out the last time, and there are people who are hoping maybe you could be a late addition, but you said, you know what, the development of a strong third party would be healthy for the U.S. Do you still think, I mean, you made that comment in 2012. Well, do you still think that's true?
Well, I think we're a 2-party country. What I was referring to more than anything else was to get the Republican Party, my party of record my entire career, more competitive, which means you've got to have issues that you take out to the American people where we're able to bring back the lost demographics. And right now that narrative hasn't been established. So for us to win the election, it's all about math, Deirdre, at the end of the day. You've got to get 270 electoral college votes. And the Democrats have a structural advantage in that they get to 230 of the 270 pretty easily because of the states that just are in the blue Democratic column. We have to have a message. We have to have a messenger that articulates something to the lost demographics, people who used to be Republicans and traditionally vote with Republicans, to win them back. And that's reinfusing the party with a sense of competitiveness and real ideas and the ability to communicate those ideas. And I hope that we begin to establish somebody with some message along the way where we're able to reconvince those who have left the party.
Governor, at this junction, do you see a candidate that embodies that? It doesn't mean you can't change your mind later, but is there somebody who is running a more efficient and emotional and tactical campaign right now?
It's still early days. I would have to say I'm a governor-centric person. We have some governors in the race who have very impressive established track records. They're in the single digits right now. But you know what? I found that in New Hampshire, that critically important state for several candidates this go around, people really don't decide until a couple of weeks out. So we went from 0 to 3rd place in New Hampshire just by working it very, very hard and shaking hands probably 10 times with every citizen of the state. So you can't really draw conclusions today about who might make it to the finish line in some of these early states because the voters will begin to coalesce really quite late in the game.
Well, in that first,
so anything today is premature.
That first debate, Governor Kasich really, he was the only one who had statistics for a lot of the economic and job creation issues that a lot of people want to know about.
Well, that's clearly one of the top issues. In fact, I think jobs and a job creation agenda is clearly top of mind for most voters. And he has a record of doing that. The other governors have pretty impressive records on the same. So I would say, let's watch this carefully play out. The debate tomorrow night is going to be very important. I suspect it's not going to be a gotcha game because you've got two folks from your good network who are going to lead the effort. And if we can get the candidates to elucidate a little bit more on some of their policy specifics around job growth, around tax reform, around how you revitalize this democracy of ours that in the last election, 2014, had the lowest voter turnout in 75 years. We have some structural issues here in terms of the health of our democracy that must be addressed.
Yeah,
so the specifics are going to be good, and they'll help people better understand the candidates as we go forward.
I agree 100%. And to your point, democracy does need participation, and our own Neil Cavuto has said he's fine with disappearing. He wants the candidates' views to get out there. Governor, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks,
so
Deirdre.
glad to
Real
have
pleasure.
you.